Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. When I started using Anchor to do my podcast, it was so extremely easy that I haven't even bothered to look for another app to use. I love this app. It's the only one I deal with, the only one I even recommend, period. I recommend you get on there ASAP. If you want to start a podcast, this is definitely the place to go. It's easy. You can drive around and record. You can sit in your basement and record. You can do it anywhere. It's fantastic. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start, anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I hope everyone is staying safe. I know that all this, we got quite a little pandemic going on, don't we, of this coronavirus. And I hope everyone's doing good. I hope everyone is staying safe and staying indoors and staying away from the sick people. And for those of you who either have gotten sick or who are related to somebody who has gotten very ill over all this, these past few weeks or months, my thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family. I hope that everything is good. I hope everyone is going to recover and have be on the good track to recovery and be good. And, I know it's a hard time. It's a very weird time. I don't remember a single point in my life where it's gotten this hectic. I mean, the closest thing I can think of is when we went through Y2K. I don't know if any of you if some of you might be old enough to remember that, maybe not. But Y2K was quite the little scare. But the difference back then was you didn't have the internet the way it is now. You definitely didn't have social media. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have everyone and their brother making videos and making podcasts about it. And it was very strange. I don't want to have just a tip. I know so many people are tired of hearing about all this stuff. It's a scary thing and a scary time, but I didn't want to make a show or an episode just basically talking about all the same stuff. I want to come at this from a different angle. I want you to understand, I want everyone that listens to this to understand that during this time, this is not a time to be blaming, this is not a time to be negative, it's not a time to be pointing the fingers at anyone, it's definitely not a time to panic. If you know anything about my show, or if you've heard anything about how the things I talk about, the last thing on earth you should be doing is panicking. Because once again, I think now is a perfect example, a perfect time to reiterate this thought, but what exactly is worrying or panicking doing for you? If you are one of these types of people that like to get all fired up about it, or get all up in arms and freak out and think that the end of the world is coming, I want to know, and I mean this wholeheartedly, what exactly is that doing that's helpful for you? Because I don't know how getting yourself stressed or focused on all these negative thoughts, I don't understand how that is beneficial. And I always push to not just my audience or crowd or community, but to everyone, to people that don't listen to the show, people that are family members, people that are just friends, people that are just coworkers, people that are strangers. I just like to show that this is not a time to be negative. It's not helpful. People right now are looking for hope. They're looking for answers. They're looking to find happiness in this crazy-ass time. And when people freak out or point fingers or talk about the government's good or the government's bad, or they're handling this wrong or they're handling this right, that is not where our focus should be. Our focus should 100% be on keeping ourselves and our families and each other safe and away from all this stuff, away from all the headache, away from all the stress. Now is the time to be, like, if any of you are old enough to remember 9/11, what I do remember about that time is, even though it was a time of terror, a time of where many people panicked, a lot of people did panic during this time. It wasn't helpful at all to panic. It wasn't helpful to worry. It wasn't helpful to be negative. What I did notice that was super helpful is that the majority of people that did come together, that did communicate with each other, it was a very positive feel for the people towards each other. It may not have been a positive feel towards, I mean, people were like, what's going to happen? Are we going to war? Is somebody attacking us? Is this, is another country behind this? Like, when it first happened, nobody really knew what was happening and who was to blame or any, and that's the thing. Listen, it was a bad time, but the beautiful thing that did happen, this is where I always seek positives. The beautiful thing that happened is it was not a time of pointing fingers. It was a time of, how can we come together? We're all in this together. This is America. If you're in America, this is for the people that live in America, obviously. If you were in America at this time, you weren't looking for, how can I fight somebody or who do I attack? It was, hey, how are we doing? Is everyone doing good? We come together. I remember before that, there was a lot of racial tension, especially with white and black, and it quickly shifted the focus onto, I hate to say it, but Muslims. Like, Arabic Muslims are the people that were taking the most heat. I feel horrible for what they had to go through. Not the terrorists, I mean, fuck them. But the people that were innocent, the Arabic Muslim innocent people, they got lumped into this bullshit. And the same thing that's kind of happening right now with innocent Asian people are kind of going through this shit a little bit, not nearly to the extent, but are kind of feeling a little heat because of, a lot of media people are saying about calling it the China virus. And listen, nobody's calling it the China virus to blame all Chinese people. If you do feel that way, you're a fucking idiot. And I gladly will say that. It's the truth. If you feel like all Asians around you are somehow linked to the quote-unquote China virus or the COVID-19, you're a fucking idiot. It's not Chinese people. It's not Asian people as a whole. And that's another thing. To be honest with you, it's stupid as fuck to say that the China virus is somehow racist, because China's not a race. Chinese people are not a race. Asians are a race of people. You wouldn't say, like, think about it. To say that Chinese or that's a race, that'd be like saying Americans. If you think about it, China's a country. The Chinese people are people from China. Chinese does not cover all Asians. It doesn't cover Thailand. It doesn't cover Japan. It doesn't cover Korea, either Korea. It's not a race. Asians are a race. Latinos are, or Latina or Hispanic is a race. Black, not African American, because what about all the black people that are from like Haiti or something, or like from the islands? There's people that are just as black from the islands that are from Africa. So to me, it's actually more racist to call all black people African American, because that's clearly not true. But that being said, when you talk about the virus coming from a country, it's not racist to do that. It's just like when people talked about the Spanish flu. They weren't saying all people that are Spanish are to blame for this. It's not racist to call it that. You're just saying where it comes from. Another one is MERS. Most people have no fucking clue what MERS stands for. It's the first two letters of MERS is Middle Eastern, M-E, and then respiratory, and it's either syndrome, I think it's syndrome, I believe is what the S stands for. But the M-E-R is Middle Eastern respiratory. Like, it's not racist to say that. You're talking about where it comes from. So I just want to put some people at ease when they're saying, oh, when you say China virus, it's racist. No, it's not. First off, Chinese people is not racist. It's not a race. You saying that is actually more racist, because it just shows that you don't know what you're talking about. But that is neither here nor there. That's not the important part of the story. The importance that I want to talk about this is kind of why I'm bringing that up, is it's about coming together. It's not about fucking pointing fingers. It's not about saying that, oh, if you call it China virus, you're racist. It's not saying that if it came from China, that's somehow racist. Stop pointing the fingers. It doesn't matter where it come from. It doesn't matter who started it, why it started. What matters is we get past this shit, we come together, and we do what's necessary to keep as many fucking people safe as possible. All right, people are getting sick. People are not doing all that well. Even the people that are healthy mentally are not doing all that well right now because so many people are scared. And listen, at any given time, anything can happen in your life. It is not wise to go around being scared, panicked, worried, depressed, angry. Anything can happen at any fucking time. You could, like, any one of us could have a heart attack in 5 seconds. Like, you don't walk around scared every day that you might have a heart attack. You don't walk around scared every day that you might get mugged, but it could happen. You know what I mean? Like, so the point is, just because something is going wrong, I understand that the risk is higher than it was yesterday, but you're at risk of so many things every fucking minute of every day, but you don't think about them because it's not smart to just go around life worrying about things that potentially could happen. It's just not. Listen. If any one of us died tomorrow, then that's what it is. Like, you're not being scared is not going to save you from that. You know what I mean? Like, I guess if your way of going out was you might have got shot in public, and if you just stay indoors, then that won't happen. But the reality is that can happen anytime, anywhere. It doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter, who's around you. You don't know what the next second will bring. You just don't. So my point is, you should walk around with optimism every day, and if something bad happens, then you approach it when it happens. You don't walk around fearing that something bad could happen every day, because you're going to drive yourself fucking crazy. It's just true. You will live with stress. Stress is a horrible, horrible thing. I don't know how to measure it. I don't have a magic tool that tells you how much stress you're living with and what kind of damage it's currently doing to your physical body. But what I do know is it's very awful for you. Stress is damaging, and I don't know how to frame it. Like, I don't know how to I can't show you the damage that stress does, but we all, like, heart attacks are linked to stress. Gray hair is linked to stress. Losing your hair, going bald is linked to stress. Anxiety, depression is linked to stress. There are so many things that are linked negatively to stress that I'm just saying that if you can avoid any of it, please try to, for your own sake. It doesn't help me. I don't care. Like, look, I care about you as people. I care about your well-being. But if you are stressed out, it affects me zero. So I'm not saying this to protect myself. I'm saying it for your own sake. It's not helpful. It's not helpful to be negative. I get negative. I have a constant battle every effing day of being positive and being negative. I love to be a positive person at my core. At my, like, when I'm normal and when I'm in a normal, calm, relaxed, regular, normal state of mind, my favorite is positivity, being positive, people being positive around me. But that doesn't mean every second of my life I'm a positive creature. I'm like, I've said this before. My dad growing up was always positive, but he worked a lot. When I was young, like when I was in school, he worked at afternoons at night, so I didn't see him much at night during the week, and I seen him a little bit on the weekends. So growing up, I dealt more with my mom, like when I was out of school. So my mom was more of I don't want to say negative, but it's just that she looked at things more of a pessimistic way. My dad always looked at things from a more optimistic way. I'm a 50-50 battle of both. I don't like negativity. I hate it, but it's in there. So I'm not trying to tell you this like I get it, man. Like, I get it if you have negativity in you. I get it if you choose to be pessimistic instead of optimistic. I understand wholeheartedly. I'm not trying to come at this from an approach of, well, you need to be like me and be positive. I have my moments just as much. It's just, I know that it's meaningless. It does nothing for you positive. It doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form to be negative. Like, there's a huge, and I know some people are going to be like, well, if you think of all the bad that could happen, it prepares you. And I get it. if you should always understand a positive and negative, side of everything. What I'm saying is, don't focus on the negative. Don't only think about the negative. Like, be aware of it. I think everyone on earth should be as self-aware as physically possible. I think everyone should, you should be aware of every outcome, or you should try to prepare for every outcome. But that doesn't mean that you should only look at the negative and think that that's the only thing that's going to happen to you. You shouldn't look at things and be like, well, this is going to happen if I leave the house. This is going to happen if I go to the grocery store. This is going to happen if I do this. This is going to happen if I'm around my friend. Like, I think that you should take the steps necessary to stay safe. But while you're doing that, you should be focused on hope. You should be focused on this will all be over with at some point. I think within, I think it's going to be a lot sooner than later. But, let's be honest. If you're alive in 2 years, if any of us are alive in 2 years, I think that that the coronavirus is going to be long gone. Or the COVID-19 at least. Coronavirus has been around since we first found it, I think, 1961 or something like that. It was in the 60s. Like, the coronavirus isn't new. People are treating it like it's this brand new disease pandemic that we just have no idea. But now the more we learn, the more we realize that, no, this has been around for a long time. This is a new strain. This is a more violent strain of it. And we don't really know where it came from for sure. I mean, we know that the first outbreak of it started like in China. But that doesn't mean that they did it on purpose. It doesn't mean that they didn't. I don't know. But it doesn't really matter at this point. What matters is it is out there. How do we approach it now? I've always had this mindset of when something happens, you don't think about, well, what if it didn't? It shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't be the case. You're wasting time and energy when you do shit like that. Instead, go, okay, this is what happened. It sucks that it happened, of course, but it happened. It's set in stone now. It's already here. There is no going back in time and changing that. So where are we at right now, and where do we go from here? You should approach everything like that. This is where I'm at now. Did you get screwed over by the government? Did you get screwed over by your parents? Did you get screwed over by a best friend? Did you get screwed over by your ex-husband? Whatever the case is, it happened. It's over and done with. Now, where do we go from here? Okay, because you can live your whole life saying this shouldn't have happened, and somebody's out to get me. Then it might be easy for you to say, but it's not like that for me. Or your truth is this isn't you. You're not living my truth. My truth is like this. Cool. Whatever your truth is. I still believe that there's only the truth, not your truth or my truth. I believe there's the truth. But whatever the truth is, instead of complaining and wishing it wasn't, accept what it is and game plan for how you go. Where do you go from there? That's the only thing you can do. You can't fix what's already happened. It already happened. So where do you go from here? What's next? COVID-19's out there. There's people in many countries dying, which is terrible. It's awful. I don't want that for anyone. But it is, the fact is, it's happened. I'm not changing it. I wish I could, but I can't. So since we know that it has happened, since we know that this is the story, where do we go from here? And this is why I think what your game plan should be, all of us, myself included, we should all be thinking, how do we keep ourselves safe? What's the best approach for me and my family? What can I do to get through this? And listen, I know that we're already a couple weeks in. I know that I've taken a little bit of time off because I had to get my stuff in order. I had to figure out what's going on with my work. I have my family stuff to deal with too. I'm trying to keep my family safe. I'm trying to make sure we have everything we need. I'm trying to make sure that our money is set so we're not put in the hole. And this is really the first big time that I had to be able to tell you, to talk to you guys. And I feel I'm sorry that I'm a couple weeks behind on this, but hopefully now that we are in this, hopefully this can help you, because I want to show you two things that I think are going to be very important for you going forward. A, about your health, and B, about your finances. Now we'll start with A. When it comes to your health, I think everyone should be doing, and I think we all, for the most part, kind of know what we should be doing. You should be washing your hands. You should be disinfecting stuff. You should be keeping, social distancing. It doesn't mean you can't see anyone or hang out with anyone. Just be thoughtful. Be smart about what you're doing. Don't share pops with them. Don't smoke the same cigarette or joint with them. Don't get in don't be kissing people like that. If you don't know whether or not they're sick, if you haven't been living with them, like my wife, we still kiss each other, not nearly like as, much or carelessly or whatever at this moment, just because we do have our daughter. We don't want to get her sick. We don't know, like, if either one of us has gone out and, when we've gone to the grocery store and picked up supplies and all these things, we don't know if something accidentally got on. So we're not being careless about it. We're cleaning, we're washing our hands, we're doing everything we can. And we're definitely doing everything in our power to keep it away from our daughter. So she's been staying in. We haven't been going out too much. And plus the weather hasn't been crazy nice, at least in Michigan here. It hasn't been crazy nice out yet. So it's a little easier to stay indoors. It's not a huge deal for us. But we should all be being thoughtful about this, Be smart about what you're doing. Just don't be careless. Don't take any unnecessary steps of being, like we see these people out in spring break and they're like, I don't care if I get it. And here's what's stupid about it. It's not about you getting it. It's about you getting it and then giving it to somebody else. Like, if you don't care if you get it and die, cool. Then you go ahead and do that. But don't come bring it back to me or my family. Don't come bring it back to other people. You're going to come home from spring break, and if you have it, you're now going to, if you live with your mom and dad still, you could potentially give it to them. If you have a younger sister or brother, or an older sister or brother, if you have anyone else around you, you could be giving it to them. So these people that are doing this, I'm not mad that they're putting themselves in danger. I don't give a fuck. If you want to risk your life and you don't care if you die, that's on you. I don't prefer it, but if that's what you want, cool, it's your life. However, you're also putting other people in danger when you do this, and that is where I do have a problem. Because just because you don't give a fuck if you get it, do you not care if you give it to somebody else? So all I'm saying is, be thoughtful, be smart, take care of yourself, and don't be stupid. Don't be dumb. DBD. You guys have known me from the beginning, my early podcast. You remember DBD. Don't be dumb. And if you don't know that episode, I highly recommend that one, because many people, especially what we're seeing right now with this COVID-19 and how people are acting very carelessly and being kind of stupid about it. Some people are. I think that episode will hit home for a lot of people. So if you're interested, please go check that one out. I think it'll be worth it. Now we can move on to number 2. About your money. Now this one, I always, I've had a few episodes out where I've tried to help people, like, with money and how to help people save and manage their money and not be, not spend on stupid stuff if you don't need to, and well, first off, none of us need to spend on stupid stuff. By definition, if you're spending on stupid stuff, it's because you're spending money on stuff you don't need. So if you don't need it, but you just, want it because you got extra money, what I'm saying is you should always, and don't just do it because of the COVID. I think you should always be trying, like, save some money, prepare. Like this thing that happened, right? I am not at all the type that wants a handout. I don't want one from my family. I don't want one from the government. I don't want one from... what I'm saying is this. I'll take a handout. I don't want to ask for one. I don't want to need one. If you want to just give me money, that's cool. I'll take it. But I'm not asking for it. I don't feel entitled to it. I don't feel like I deserve it. Like, I hear a lot of people right now going on Facebook, Instagram, and all these different social medias and be like, oh, the government's going to give me money. Good. We deserve this, and I deserve this, and I deserve... Like, listen, you don't deserve shit. None of us, myself included, does not deserve shit. You don't deserve anything. There's nothing in life that is guaranteed to you because of who you are or what you believe or what you think or nothing. I don't live entitled. I hate entitlement. My parents, even though I was basically an only child, I have 2 half-sisters, didn't really grow up with them, or, didn't really have them around. Anyway, I basically was an only child. My parents, anytime they would quote-unquote spoil me, they made it very clear to me that I'm blessed. I'm lucky. This isn't normal. I'm not entitled. I don't deserve it. I'm not better than anyone. Blah, blah, all that stuff. They made sure that that message, that thought, that idea, that belief was in me, that's stuck in my head. And I live with it today. I don't feel entitled. I don't deserve shit. I save my money. And a reason I try to help people save their money is because I want everyone to be prepared for things like this. Like, look, dude, I've never in my life in 36 years have experienced COVID-19, but I was prepared for it. And that doesn't mean that I'm better than anyone. That doesn't mean that I'm smarter than anyone. It just means I had good teachers that helped me get to the point where it's like, I want to save money. And I want that for you. I want you to want to save money, because for all the people that were out there buying like tons of video games or tons of Jordans or tons of jerseys or tons of like anything, tons of shit you just don't need. When you waste all your money on shit you don't need, then in times of need, you don't have it. And this is not rocket science. This is common sense. But they're not taught that in schools. We're not taught that by a lot of people, actually. In fact, when I was growing up, I was one of the few people, at least of all the friends and shit that I had in school, I was one of the few people that did what I'm talking about doing. And the only reason I did it is not because I'm so brilliant, it's because my parents made me. So they forced me into doing this shit because they knew it was smart. I didn't like it at first. I hated it. I was like, this is my money. If I earn my money, I should be able to spend it. And he goes, yeah, that's cute. You're saving this. You're saving this amount of money. And he goes, you can spend whatever. I don't care what you buy with the rest of it, but you're saving this. And I hated it at first. I was like, why? Why should I have to save this money? And now that I'm older, and the money, and when you start saving and saving and saving, and you start seeing it add up, it becomes really exciting. And it starts like there's two types of savings. Sometimes people save money up until they get to a certain point, and then they spend that because they have something in mind that they want to buy. But then other people save and save and save, and then maybe they'll only spend a little bit of that, and then they keep saving and saving and saving and investing and things like that. And now is listen, people, if you were fortunate enough, or if you planned ahead, if you planned on saving some of your money, and now you have like a little nest egg. It might be a few $100, it might be a few thousand, it might be a few million. I don't know. Whoever the fuck is listening to this, if you have a certain amount of money that you have saved away, and you have enough that's like, you can get by, you have all your supplies, you're going to be good for a while, even if your work closes and you don't have any money coming in, like that's a beautiful place to be. If you or your husband or wife, or by yourself, if you're single, whatever, if you don't have your job, or if you can't go into work and you're not making a dime, if you happen to save a good amount of money for a long time, chances are you're probably going to be just fine throughout this down period of not getting paid. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, don't get me wrong. Of course, more money's cool, more money and all that. I want to be able to pay my bills. I want my family to be safe and happy. But that's what I've done. I've saved enough money to where even if, like, my wife right now can't work for at least a few weeks and until further notice, really. She's not going to make a dime during any of this. Now, she can file for unemployment, I believe, and maybe get a little bit there. But she was already part-time. She wasn't really working a whole lot anyway. So it's not like we're going to get a ton of money for this. But that being said, even if I'm out of work for like a month or two, I still at least have enough in my savings to where I can pay all my bills. I'll be fine. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm saying this is what I want for you. This is what I want for everyone. I want everyone to save the kind of money that it takes to get themselves in that position. Because it's so incredibly important. During times like these, during times like Y2K, during times of 9/11, listen, the stock market has dropped dramatically. Even if, like, I've recently been getting into investing in sports cars, like rookies, and saving them, because long term, like, this isn't like some buy today, sell tomorrow type of shit. This is, hey, you buy a rookie and it's all investing, because you don't know if it's going to be good or bad. You don't know if these people are going to be really solid in the future or really shitty. I mean, it's an investment, just like the stock market. But lately, I have been getting more into investing, period. I had some income tax money come back. I took about $1,000 of that and I put it into some stocks. And if I'm being honest, I'm just going to tell you guys what stocks. I put it into Ford Motor Company. Now, I have no tie. I mean, I have some family members that work at Ford, but like nothing major. As a matter of fact, my dad worked at GM, but GM's too expensive. GM was like $24, $25. So I was like, I can either take, I'm only going to take so much money and put it into stock. So if I'm going to put it into stock, I'd rather put it into something that I feel pretty good about that's relatively cheaper. Well, Ford has been dropping and dropping and dropping. I bought it, and I'm being honest. I'm being honest with you guys. I bought it when it dropped to $5.03. That was like almost a week ago. I put $1,000 into it. So, that being said, I bought 200 shares. It's like $1,006. I don't know if that's too much information. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or what, but I'm doing it because I like being honest with you guys. So I spent $1,006. It was $5.03 per share. I bought exactly 200 shares. It has dropped to $4.33 right now. As of this podcast right now, Sunday, March 22nd. As of today, it's down to $4.33. Now the stock market's going to open again tomorrow. Now, that being said, while it's down, now you can say, oh, so you've already lost money. That was a bad investment. And I would say, you're wrong, my friend, because Ford, throughout the past 15, 20 years of just me paying attention to it, I've watched Ford go up and up and up, then drop and drop and drop, then go up and up and up. And here's the thing. I bought stock a long time ago in Ford. I bought it around $7, $8. It went up to, I want to say, $12, $13, $14. I made enough money to then be able to, 11 years ago, I put money down on my house. Now, if I wouldn't have had that Ford stock, I probably wouldn't have had those thousands to be able to put into my house. I probably wouldn't be in my house right now. But I was able to because of Ford. Now, that's one of the biggest reasons why I bought Ford stock this time, because I have watched it consistently go up, then down, then up, then down, then up, then down. It's never gone out of business. So right now, what I'm trying to say to you guys is if you have a little extra money, I'm not telling you where to invest your money. I think it's smart if you want to put some money into Ford, but you don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to tell you where to put your money, but what I am saying is if you have money, if you have a little bit extra money and you can afford to potentially throw it away or lose it, then, because that's where I'm at with this Ford stock that I'm talking about. Say Ford does go out of business. Say I lose it all, and it's $1,000 and I lose $1,000. Well, see, the secret is I had the $1,000 to lose. See, so like if I lose that $1,000, that's going to suck, sure. But this is money that I took out of my income tax. I took income tax money and put it into that. So the money that I had coming back is money that I didn't expect to, like, it wasn't like that I earned or whatever. It wasn't like, it wasn't like my paycheck that I rely on every week or whatever. It was extra money. And so if I lose that extra money, well, that's money I didn't plan on having anyway. I didn't know how much money I was going to get back for income tax. I happened to get more than $1,000, so I took $1,000 and I put it into there. Now, if I lose it, that's $1,000 I lose that I didn't really have anyway. It's not money I planned on having. And that, to me, is a smart investment, because even if you lose, you didn't really lose. You know what I mean? It's free. It's house money that you're playing with. And I think that's the smart way to go. I'm not saying what I would, like, if I was you, I would not take money that you desperately need to rely on and invest that, because if you do lose, then that looks like a terrible, terrible thing. So what I would do is take money that you can afford to lose. Maybe you have something laying around your house and it's not doing anything but just sitting there. And maybe you can sell it, make $100. Maybe you can make $500. Maybe you can make $1,000. Whatever it is, you take that money, you throw it into the stock market. And if you lose it, then it's nothing. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because you took an item that's just laying around your house that you didn't even really plan on, or that you didn't even really plan on doing nothing with anyway. You sell that item, put that into stocks, and if you lose it, who cares? Doesn't matter. But if you win, now you're onto something. And here's the thing, when it comes to stocks, now you can do day trading, you can buy and sell every day, and buy something today, sell it tomorrow, make a few, whatever. But I'm looking at Ford for potentially a little bit of a long-term thing. I don't expect Ford to come back tomorrow. I don't expect Ford to come back in a month or two. I'm fully expecting to hold on to this stock for at least, oh, there goes an ambulance. I'm full, or fire truck. And no, I'm not outside by any chance. But anyway, but I'm fully expecting that it's going to come back, that it's going to take at least a year. That's what I did with my first time around with Ford stock. But here's the thing. Ford pretty much averages, like from what I've seen here and there, it usually floats around 10 to 20 bucks, somewhere in there. So if it just gets back to 10, I've doubled my money. I go from $1,000 to $2,000. And if it goes out of business, which I highly doubt, then it looks like I lost $1,006. The point is, though, I'm not telling you to do that with money you desperately need. I would never do that. If I desperately needed that $1,000 right now, I would have never done that. I don't think that's smart business. I don't think that's smart for yourself. Take care of your family. Take care of yourself first. And then if you have play around money, like maybe you planned on, I don't know, maybe you planned on going to a baseball game or a football game this year, and you were going to throw down $100 or $200 in, seats and parking and concessions and all that stuff. Maybe just go to one less game. Maybe just don't go to that game and take that 200, save that 200, 100 or 200, whatever it is. Maybe think about investing that, or just save it. You don't have to invest. So when I'm telling you all these things, like I'm just giving you options that I think are smart with your money, but only do this if you can afford to. Buy the things you need. Don't shortchange your toilet paper and your fucking paper towel and your cleaning supplies. If that's what you need, then buy those things. And if you need food, buy fucking food. Just, if you have play around money, maybe don't buy that extra jersey this year. Maybe don't buy that extra set of Jordans. Maybe don't go, if you, maybe right now, I didn't even think about this one. People go on vacations left and fucking right. Well, right now you ain't going on shit vacations. So maybe you have to save that vacation money. Maybe think about doing something with that. Maybe, let's say you were going to spend $1,000 on going on a vacation and now you can't go on that vacation. Here's something smart. And I would do this in a fucking heartbeat. If you were going to go on vacation and now you can't, and say it was going to cost you $1,000, I would save $500 of that and not touch it at all, and then take the other $500 and play around with it. That way, you're still saving money and you're investing with the potential to grow. Listen, people, there are 1,000 things you can do, but what I'm telling you first and foremost, and of the utmost importance that you can possibly go with, if that sentence made sense, is that you take your money and you spend what you need to spend, keep your family safe, healthy, fed, keep a roof over your head, keep your bills paid, all that, then play around with some money. First and foremost, pay what you need to pay. Pay your bills. Don't get your lights shut off. Don't get your water shut off. Don't fucking starve yourselves. Pay your bills. Number one, pay your bills. Number 2, save. And number 3, play around. It should always go in that order. And I think where people get fucking fancy is they're like, oh, I got a little extra money. Let me buy something that I don't need, but just for fun. I'll splurge. I got money burning a hole in my pocket. Let's just do it. And it's not smart. It's just not a smart long-term strategy, because now you get into a position where everyone is supposed to stay in with a case of the coronas, and you can't go out. And now if you don't have that extra money, what are you going to do? You going to sell shit on eBay? Well, nobody's buying shit on eBay. I mean, there's a few things selling, but like I've seen so many people, because of the stock market caving and the sports cards and all that, I've seen the stock card or the sports cards are going down in price. So many people are nervous and scared, and they're selling off things because they don't know what's going to happen, and they get nervous and they want to have this extra money. They want to sell now because they think it's all going to come crashing down. And that's just not, long term, that's not a smart strategy. Short term, if you need extra money, then hey, that's probably a smart thing to do. Sell off some things that you don't need right now and make a few extra bucks and, get by. But people, you should always be thinking about saving. Coronavirus or not, you should be thinking about saving. You should be thinking about being keeping your health, staying positive, doing the smart long-term strategy. If you are only living for today, it's going to be a very dark future for you. It just is. You need to prepare long term for what you're going to do, because you don't know what's going to happen. You just don't, people. And listen, I care enough about each and every one of you, whether I know you physically or not. I care enough about people to know that it's smart for everyone. You should try to put your health first, your savings. You just stop buying dumb shit. Stop being so negative. Stop being scared and depressed and nervous, because that is not helpful. It doesn't do anything positive for you. So I hope during this really rough time, I hope that with all the nerves and all the stress and all the anxiety and depression and anger and all this crazy shit, finger pointing and blaming, and it's a crazy time. We get it. We know all that. But I hope that you can take some positivity, you can move forward, you can plan properly, and you can do something smart and beneficial for your future. And people, first and foremost, especially at this time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay good, stay strong with your family. If everyone around you is panicking, try to challenge yourself to be the voice of reason, to be the strong leader that people so desperately need right now. I love you guys, and I thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's benefited somebody in some way. Please get a hold of me and ask me any questions, talk to me, communicate. Maybe you thought this was terrible for some reason. Maybe I said something that came across in a way that I wasn't intending. Maybe it came across bad. Please, guys, let me know. If you want to get a hold of me through the Anchor app, you can. You can leave me a voice message through the Anchor app. If you want to get a hold of me on Instagram, it's Really Rich Podcast. If you want to get a hold of me on Twitter, it's Really Rich Adam. If you want to get a hold of me on Snapchat or YouTube, it's Really Rich. If you want to get a hold of me on LinkedIn, it's Adam Rich. You'll see founder and host of Really Rich Podcast. And if you want to get a hold of me on TikTok, it's Adam Rich. All no comma, all no space. It's Adam Rich. I love you guys, and I thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, peace. I'm out of here.